coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
My buddy actually has a business that does this.
Really?
But he does it for real estate agents.
Oh, yes.
And so it's like when you list your house, you can add on a virtual tour, and the numbers on it are insane. Because every time somebody adds a virtual tour, like the cost or the sale price of their house goes up, the amount of prospects that see the house goes up, the tours, the physical tours go up, everything goes up.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. I'm excited about today and this particular episode because we're talking about an extremely practical thing that I did long before it was ever popular. And we'll talk about that later. This is really talking about giving people a digital and virtual tour of your ministry prior to them ever walking onto your campus. Well, my name is Josh Denhart. We're grateful that you're here. We are trying to help you to make sense of ministry, make it turnkey simple, do some things that would cause some great impact that can be done and serve you for years and years and years to come. And one of those things is a virtual tour. Good to see you, Bill.
Yeah, good to see you too.
I'm excited about this virtual tour piece. Now, a long time ago, Bill, I was visiting my brother. And this is back in the 19s. And no, it was right after 2000. Do you remember when YouTube first came out? Do you know what date? Do you remember a year?
Oh, I don't remember the exact year. I know that I actually way back when had a channel on YouTube in
really?
2000. It was 2000, 2006, 2007, and it was very small back then. YouTube was very small.
Okay, I'm going to say, when did YouTube start? 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And so, long time ago. But it took a while for it to kick in, did it not?
It did, yeah. It was kind of like a novelty thing when it first launched.
It was a novelty. And so today we're going to talk about some video stuff. And we're going to talk about what I call the power of a ministry virtual tour. And I'm excited about this one. We're going to define it. We're going to develop it. We'll take it deeper and call you to action. But let's define it first, Bill. What is a virtual tour? Well, here's what I have put down. A definition of the word virtual. Something real and existing, seen or happening online on a digital screen rather than in person or in the physical world. So stick with me. It is real, but it's existing, seen or happening online on a digital screen rather than taking place in person. So a virtual tour is I'm giving somebody a video tour of something that truly exists in physical real world, but they're just physically not there at that time.
Yeah, that makes sense. My buddy actually has a business that does this.
Really?
But he does it for real estate agents.
Oh, yes.
And so it's like when you list your house, you can add on a virtual tour, and the numbers on it are insane. Because every time somebody adds a virtual tour, like the cost or the sale price of their house goes up, the amount of prospects that see the house goes up, the tours, the physical tours go up, everything goes up when you add that on to a real estate package.
And I would imagine that the window of opportunity from when you listed it to when it's closed and you got your money out of the deal has been contracted dramatically because that virtual tour piece works. And so what we're introducing today is, how can you have a virtual tour of your ministry, knowing that people are going to come to your church website long before they're ever going to darken the door of your church? Well, we defined virtual. Now let's define tour. A brief trip through a space like a building or a site to view or inspect it. Well, again, this is a virtual tour, is taking a tour of something that is real, but it's being done virtually. Easy enough. So a brief trip through a space as a building or a site that happens to be on a digital screen rather than in person or in that physical space. Pretty straightforward. I think people understand what this is. Now, why? Why would somebody want to build a virtual tour? Why did I go to the effort long ago to build a virtual tour? Well, a virtual tour is a way for visitors to get a feel for our ministry before they come, or they have a deeper experience after their first time visit. And so this is a very, very, very critical thing. I would say that it reduces what I call the deer in the headlights moments. Now, Bill, you've been in church ministry for a long time. If you have your eyeglasses tuned in, you're going to be able to see somebody and like, okay, this is the first time that they've ever been in our building. They're kind of doing that look around deer in the headlights thing. That is an absolutely normal experience, but a virtual tour kind of reduces that deer in the headlights because they're sitting at home, looking on their phone, sitting by their home, like whatever living room area, and they're taking a virtual tour, looking at their phone, and they're literally walking through, in a sense, some of the spaces and places at your church. It reduces this feeling of unfamiliar.
Oh yeah, it's so true. It's kind of like if you ever go into like a brand new grocery store and you don't know the layout at all, and you're like, I just want to get a can of black beans, right?
Yes.
And you're going in and you're like, I have no idea where I'm going. And so you just start walking down the aisles and you're halfway trying to look at the signage that's above them. And you like imagine the store manager watching you in that moment.
Right.
In that moment, he knows you don't know where whatever you're looking for is. And that's when they approach you and try to help you out. But imagine for a moment that you had a virtual tour of that store ahead of time. Now you know where to go. Now you know where you're heading to find these black beans. And it's so much more comfortable for you.
It is. And can I tell you that my wife at this point would shoot me a look because she's in some ways far more technologically advanced than I am. And she's like, yeah, it's called the Target app. And she'll go, this is an E36 on the left because Target has thought this through. And I put in a product and it's like, C36. And you're like, oh, I'll go to C, right? So I'm not searching around like a bumbling husband with a list of things for my wife. She can actually tell me exactly where to go because Target has thought that through. Well, what are the specifics of a virtual tour? Well, I made one of these, Bill, and I'll tell you that it had two components. The specifics of a virtual tour have, number one, you're sharing vision, and number two, it's what's called B-roll. Well, let's go with sharing vision first. This is a talking head or interview style video of me, the leader. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like you're not just introducing the space, you're you have a guide to the space. And in this case you're talking about was you. I
really appreciate the way that you said that. I was the guide. And so in a sense, here I was in a well-lit, mic'd up everything space with our children's ministry logo behind me, a little bit blurred because we had a good camera. And I had a script and I read that script. It was on a teleprompter. Now you got to understand, this was years ago. It was so far in the past, like 2007, 2008. Our church website would not even allow for embedding a YouTube video, let alone we didn't even have a YouTube channel back then.
Yeah. So what did you do then? How did you get it to people?
Okay, this is a great question. So what we did is that we videotaped me sharing this vision of our general vision for the children's ministry and each of the subsets, whether it was a Wednesday night Awana program or our 5th and 6th grade Route 56 program or our summer outreaches or what it looks like to enroll your kid in our nursery. Every aspect, we had a little short 2 to 3 minute little segment. Then, we'll get to this in a minute, we went around with B-roll And we shot video of people coming on a Wednesday night, sitting with their small group as I was speaking about the small group. And then we integrated my vision talking head video with the B-roll footage, and we just spliced in and out. Now, again, we'll just do what this B-roll says. So the first part is a talking head. That was me sharing vision. Then the second part was live action shots that connected with what the talking head is sharing. Pretty straightforward. The format, of course, since you yourself are a video editor, Bill, this makes complete sense, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is, I think people sometimes watch videos without realizing that this is what's happening. But
Yes.
the B-roll actually helps tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happening is you have a guide, and they're always probably speaking to some degree, but then over the top of them speaking, you're seeing what they're talking about, and it kind of mashes it all together. And it's in a way in which we kind of experience our world.
We do. And so all of a sudden, when I was saying, our goal with small groups is to have a smiling adult who knows, loves, and da-da. So I have a list on my little B-roll camera shot sheet. I called it a shot sheet. And I went to the video people and I said, I want you to go to this small group at this hour, and I want this person's smiling face to be captured. This is where she's going to sit. And so then all of a sudden, when I say our main goal is to have a small group leader who is a smiling, bink, we go away from me, the talking head, to a small group of kids. And that which I'm sharing verbally is now reinforced visually. Mm-hmm. And we just did that on rinse and repeat over and over and over with every one of these videos. Now, of course, we shot the vision video first, and then I took notes from the vision video. What B-roll, what footage do I want to enhance that which I've already said? Mm-hmm. Pretty easy. Yeah. But of course, YouTube didn't really exist. And so you said earlier, how did we go about doing this? Well, the way that we did it is that we burned them onto DVDs. Nice. And we had this packet. It had two sides, right? It was like an old folder thing or whatever. And we had like a sleeve which would hold the DVD in a little pocket. We had all of our brochures. We had kind of a welcome letter. And so then I would go give tours to everybody, or a new person would come to our church. And then this was something that I would give to you as you left. And then I would say, hey, go home, pop this in, sit down with your family, and take a quick tour of our church and what we're all about. And there were plenty of times that people said, hey, watch that video. Me and our kids, it was even I've had this was said, even the DVD menu was professional and kind of inviting. And I was like, well, we did that by design, right? Yeah. And so it was kid friendly, and it had a music with it, and there was movement. And so then they would watch the portions that had to do with them and their kids. And it just greased the gears of them understanding what we were seeking to do as a church.
I love that. So somewhere out there in the back of somebody's DVD cupboard are videos, are DVDs of you doing this tour. I love that.
Yeah. Like 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, Bill, you being the tech guy that you are, I am trying to say that I was ahead of the times. I'm not trying to say that in order to boast, but this was way ahead of the curve, wasn't it?
That's extremely ahead of the curve. Yeah. There's probably very few churches that even thought to do that back then.
Yes. And so, it worked. It truly worked. And watch this. Let's say that somebody got that packet and they looked inside, they saw the brochures, it landed on their kitchen table, and they never watched that video. It still was a win because it at least communicated to them, wow, they've thought this through.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, like this is how much care we're putting in.
That's exactly right. So again, the virtual tour is two main components. It's the vision sharing, talking head, interview style, and it's the B-roll, and that secondary footage. Nobody's hearing what the small group is talking about. Nobody is hearing the person who's behind the check-in counter doing check-in and giving tags to people. I'm explaining that, and they're hearing me explain that and they're just viewing it in kind of like video form through the B-roll. Again, don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think it's extremely important for people to understand that. So how do you how do you execute a virtual tour? Well, number one, your vision. Start by writing out your vision, keep it simple, and keep it straightforward. I would say that you should write it out, that you should work back through it and condense it, work back through it again, and brevity. The great theologian and scientist and philosopher Blaise Pascal, he had a handwritten letter that's now existing in the National Science Archives. And at the end of that letter, it said, P.S. If I had more time, I would have written less.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard that before.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that's really good though.
And so even as far as like the lead ministry, like video courses that I have, those are all typed out. And then I go over them again and I go, I think you said that almost twice there. Condense it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could say that even more brief, run it again. And so I have worked those scripts 2, 3, 4 times to make them as condensed as possible. And that's what you need to do with your scripts. Bill, talk to me, buddy.
That's so true. I mean, people don't want to listen to you over and over and over again, say the same thing or just be long-winded about things. And so you do have to think about, if I wanted to watch a video on this, what am I expecting to get? Even if you do a whole church tour, like if you're going to do your entire church, you need to think about, how can I say this in such a way where I communicate the most value with the least amount of words?
100%. 100%. And what I'm saying is that takes time. It takes an immense amount of time to be able to say less and to condense and to say it more succinctly. So keep it simple, keep it straightforward. The next one, your offering. So you got your vision, but it's also important to share about your offerings. So think about your church offerings. What do you personally oversee? Now, Bill, I'm going to totally step out for just a second here. Do you realize that nobody was telling me to do this on the church staff? Nobody had even remotely thought of this on our church staff. This was an above and beyond project that I thought would be of high ministry value. And so what did that mean? That meant that I was writing scripts, that I was condensing those scripts. That meant that I had to go to the video team and commandeer them and tell, and they're like, what are you doing? Well, it looks like this, da, 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 da. I had to create the shot sheet. All of this fell on me. Why? Because nobody else is going to think of these things.
Right.
And so it literally, I was like a producer. I was like a video producer. And so you got to think of what your vision, your offerings, your building. This is the third thing. Number 1 was vision. Number 2 is your offerings. Number 3 is your building. Do a physical walkthrough into and through your building. And so all of a sudden somebody can like get a sensation or a feeling of what it means to walk up to your church nursery. And then there's all these people that are there. When you come to our nursery, you're going to be greeted by one of our nursery captains. Their job is to warmly greet you and your child. Cue B-roll, smiling face, baby being handed off, not crying baby. They're going to take your possessions, put them onto this hook, quick B-roll of the hook. You see what I'm saying? And it's just giving the families a sensation. And then it's like, and then you and your family can go to church unscathed and know that your child's being taken care of. And so then it's a simple B-roll of that family walking off, because what you're doing is you're seeding. You're putting down the seeds of, oh, that could be us, not that person.
Yes, absolutely. And there's just a lot of anxiety right now in our society about entering new spaces. And so you're really doing a service to families who maybe they feel like, I really want to go to church. There's so many unknowns. There's so many things that how am I going to sign in? Who's going to take my child? Is it safe? All of those things. You're answering a million questions for them by producing this.
That's right. Even so far as, do people wear 3-piece suits at this church?
Yes.
And then you have the B-roll that kind of gives an idea. No, people don't wear 3-piece suits. People are cool with a quarter zip and some nice jeans.
Right. Absolutely.
And you can even put that on your video. I was at a church website recently, and it said one of the FAQs was, what should I wear?
Mm-hmm.
This is how to win digitally. I mean, back in the day, you just didn't know. You would just show up and either be overdressed or hyper underdressed. Now your church can do a service for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that actually happened to me once when I first moved to Green Bay, where I live now. My wife and I decided to check out this church, and we kind of came from backgrounds where it's a little more casual. We show up, we are the only people in the entire congregation with jeans. And then to make matters worse, in the beginning of the service, the pastor goes, "Oh, it looks like we have new people here. Will you stand up and introduce yourself?" It was quite the
so
deal.
you're saying that you're saying we stand out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like, hey, senior pastor, don't do that again.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Needless to say, we didn't end up going back to that church.
Yes. But I will say, though, that you can communicate a lot through a virtual tour. Now, the interesting thing is that, guess what, gang? You don't have to, I don't know, gosh, put it out on, like, shall we say, DVDs anymore.
Right.
It can actually be with your church website. You can actually have clickable videos that one could lead right to the next. It actually can work really, really, really well. Any closing thoughts on this particular episode, Bill?
No, just know that it does actually take a lot of effort to do something like this. Producing a video like that, people think it's super simple nowadays, and it is to a degree. I mean, even cell phones take great videos nowadays, but I want to say it's worth the investment. And it's something that is sort of a thing that you have as a church that's evergreen. In other words, you will use this for years and years to come, and you might have to update it from time to time if you change your space or you change your people or whatever, but it is so worth it. And it takes out so many barriers for people, not just coming to your church, but truly getting involved and getting to be part of the life of the church.
Couldn't agree more. It is worth the effort, and there is some effort. Now, the fun thing is, come full circle, after our church website got an upgrade and it could now service having videos on there, we went away from the DVDs and we loaded those videos right onto our website. So once again, our ministry area was already light years ahead of every other ministry area in our church, because we had very interactive on our pages. You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so it's good. And I would say that, as Jesus said, nobody builds a tower without first counting the cost. Long before I went knocking on the video team's door, Bill, I had full scripts. I had what's called storyboards. I said, I went so far as to physically draw, here's the talking head. It's going to transition, fade to black to. I wrote all of that stuff out for them.
I do a lot of video for our church, and that would be a dream if somebody did that.
Right? Just as an aside, as we close this off, I remember after we had this virtual tour and we had several other very high-end videos, I remember a couple of leaders were very frustrated with me, and they said, how is it that you get to the front of the line with the video people and they drag their feet with ours? And I said, do you want me to really show you? They said, yeah. And I showed them this insanity that I brought to the table. And I said, I've removed all of the guesswork from them. And I said, can I ask you, what happened with your last video? Well, they totally got it wrong and we had to redo it. Oh, Why? Well, because they didn't even capture the vision that I wanted. Because you didn't communicate what your vision was. You just thought that this video would fall out of the sky, ding dong.
It's so true.
And so they don't like working with you because you were double the work and I was a quarter of the work.
Oh yeah, that's exactly true. Yep.
That's for another day. But I think everybody could and should have a virtual tour. I think it could be super fun. I think it would bring you, your own self as a leader, a lot of clarity about what you're up to. If you have to put it out there and you can succinctly communicate what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing, that in of itself is going to be a wonderful exercise. Well, gang, we're grateful that you're here. Thanks so much. We think that you should have yourself a virtual tour. Get a hold of us and let us know any ways that we can support you. Check out leadministry.com, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.